Oh.
Hello, hello. We are here on the 20th of April, 2023 for another Workshops for Moms. We are live. I am Ren Roberts and Tracy Cheney is with us today. And we have two wonderful talks for you today. Our first speaker, we actually have a recording of hers because she's in London. Our friend Evelyn just came out with her very first book. So congratulations for her. And so she's come on as a guest expert. And so Tracy did an interview with her a few days ago. So that way, when it's like 3 a.m. or whatever time it is, that way we can watch the interview for her and you can hear all the juicy gems. And in our Facebook group, Evelyn will be hanging out there. So you can definitely connect with her and message. And then our second speaker, Mel, is not feeling well today. So we're going to send her a lot of love. She actually was on Workshops for Mom like a month or so ago. And so we're going to have the replay come up so you can watch her talk as well. So we're so glad to have you live with us. And Tracy, you want to kick it away and share the video from your interview that you did just a couple days ago with Evelyn.
Yes. So how exciting that we have an expert on teens for you moms. And even if you are coming up to the teen years, Evelyn has a lot of experience since she has taught high school for 15 years. So let me, make
it full screen. Okay, that's fine. Play or in full screen, either way.
Uh-oh.
Push the play button.
That would be good.
And jump in for
And here is Evelyn, who happens to be teaching right now since it's an 8-hour difference. So here it is, my interview with Evelyn Gilles.
Enjoy.
Oh, hi, everyone. Workshops for Moms is so pleased to bring you a teenager expert. We need these kind of teachers and coaches to help us navigate our communication with teens. So pleased to have Evelyn Gilles with us from London, England. And we are recording this because of the 8-hour time difference. And she is a very busy teacher during the day and a special education needs coordinator, working with parents to really make sure that their kids are getting the resources they need. So we're doing this on a Sunday morning, and we're so grateful that you could be with us. Evelyn has a new book out that she'll talk about and why she felt she needed to write it, and we'll have those links for you. But I want to get to this interview because she's got so much to share with us. So Evelyn, welcome to Workshops for Moms.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, thanks for giving us your morning. But what we'd really like to talk about first is, as you're working with teens and what you see on your side as a teacher, and of course parents have their side of it, what are the most important things that kids are talking about and they wish that they were able to communicate better with their parents?
What they are talking about mostly to me, because I'm their teacher, and sometimes it's a lot easier to talk to a stranger than it is to a parent. But a lot of my students tells me that they just can't talk to their parents about anything. They have a lot of worries and concerns, like the challenges that they have, the difficulties that they run in, and they just don't feel that they are able to talk to their parents about what's ailing them, what's concerning them, what's worrying them. And I find that really sad. In my role as a teacher, well, my role is more than that of a teacher, because a lot of my boys and girls come in strange states of despair. Some of them are physically unkempt. In other words, they are not clean, and you can tell that the shirt has not been washed. And so there are lots of signs for me that tell me one of my young people are in trouble. And so it's always a question of communicating with them, a question of asking them how things are at home, And in my role as a special educational needs coordinator, I think I am well placed then, because I have at my disposal the means, the resources. I can dispatch them, I can request them on their behalf, whatever the needs may be. If it is a concern to do with parents, it could be something deeper than physical, emotional, sexual abuse, or whatever the situation may be. Then of course, I, in my office, take care of that young person, make sure they are safe, but then I also make certain that I set about putting into place the resources and the people and the agencies that we have here that can take over the care of this young person. Sadly, though, when I have conversations with the parents, there is a sense that they are really not aware of what's going on with their children. I don't know if it is that they are not interested. I'm not sure what it is, but sometimes I talk to parents on the phone, or they are in the office or at school, and they just don't seem interested. And that I find difficult to understand, because it means that the children are not cared for, they don't feel cared for. And so at my school, it's more than a school, because we feed them, because a lot of them don't have hot meals. We care for them. We will go to the stores and buy them new shirts and clean shirts, and sort out the uniforms and make sure they are taken care of. So we do much more than you would expect a normal school to do, because we are a special educational needs school. And so the problem for me is twofold. Yes, the issue with our young people and what technology has done and is doing to their ability to communicate and to learn skills and life skills. But I also have the worry that parents are just not in tune. Some parents that I speak to don't seem to understand how important it is for their children to learn skills, to be heard, to be listened to be cared for. And for me, that's a problem that I try to address, to redress with the people and the parents and the young people that I come in touch with. But I think it's a problem that is bigger than just in the UK. I'm from France, and so when I go to France and I talk to young people there and parents there, I find that it's kind of like that as well in some cases. And a lot of my students are from various countries. They are not just from the UK. They come from various parts of Africa and Poland and so on. And it seems to be universal. But there is one common thread, it seems. Parents are now citing, most of them are citing technology as the reason why they are finding it so difficult to get through to their children, to communicate to them. Yes, but she always goes to her bedroom. She's not listening. She's not interested. I want to talk to her, but she's not interested because she's only talking to her friends on the phone. And the question is, how do we get our children, our young people to listen, to hear us, to want to hear what we have to say as teachers, educators, and parents? And so I thought about that for quite a long time, and that's what prompted me to write the book, because I thought that if I did, that would be a way of reaching out. Sally, are you okay? To reaching out to more, reaching out to a wider community other than just my school, because I'm just one person, and I know the work that I do there. I know how important that work is, and I thought that if I could put something together that parents can access, like I call it a guide. I don't even call it like it's more than a book. It's a companion. It's a reference manual. It's something that parents can actually refer to should they need to find some support, find some help, how to communicate with a child, how to instill the life skills that our young people need, and how to take time, make family time, how to do that, because it's hard to, in some cases, to get teenagers to listen to you, because they kind of know everything. I don't know if you find that they think that they know everything, and they've got it sorted, and but not really. And so that's where I began looking at what for me is becoming an epidemic, because as you said, my book consider what's happened since COVID, the generation, I call it the Zen generation, like you just said, and it's here to stay. I think it's going to get worse than it is now. And the issue is, as educators, as parents, as people who have these young people in our reach, how do we still teach them those life skills, those essential skills that are going to allow them to function as productive citizens tomorrow in society?
So I have worked in the elementary sector, and certainly have seen, small children with iPhone. So second and third graders, which used to be, it was a high school thing. And, the phone's hooked up to baby carriers now. So we're coming to the end. You're actually teaching kind of the end of Gen Z now. And that was our first digital native group to go through the schools. And I remember at the beginning, at the end of the millennials, who are now the parents, saying, okay, everybody's talking about this new generation coming up. What do we need to know? And said, we don't know. And trying to adjust education to fit now, we can see how it's affected education and the way the kids want education delivered in small chunks and kind of gamified, and, everything to try and get them engaged, just as school has actually, to me, gotten much harder because there's so much content to teach. So it is a battle. I mean, we had the battle at the school. Now, your school doesn't allow electronics. And as a school, you can impose that, but I don't know that parents can. I mean, our advice is don't let them have it, but I don't know that you can really fight that. So what is the one thing that, if we were all on the same page, besides taking away the electronics, because it's just such a battle, what can we do to get through with the teenagers?
Yeah, that's really a hard question, because, and well, it will depend on how family dynamic happens in the home. If you are from a home where family time is important, you can pass a basket and say, now it's family time. Let's everybody put their phone in the basket. You'll have it in an hour, or when when we've had our meeting. I think it's a really hard one to answer, and it's going to take both parents and their teenagers to come to a place where they both understand the importance of communicating, spending time together, and learning skills that don't necessarily involve technology. Personally, we have, like I said, we pass the bag. They each have labeled the bags, and they put their phone in, and it's not always easy. Sometimes I find that you have to give a young person a few minutes to sort of get okay with the fact that they have to put their phone in the bag, because they feel like the world is going to come to an end if they don't have it for the next 5 minutes. But it's what I find I do, and we do where the school where I work. If they because they do fight, they do argue. No, could you pick my phone? My mom is going to call me, and I'm waiting for an important call, and everything is all important in that moment to a teenager. So what I do is I usually say, okay, so I'm going to what time is it now? It's 10 o'clock. How about I give you about 5 minutes? I'm going to leave you here for 5 minutes. You do what you need to do, and I'm going to return in 5 minutes. And hopefully by then you'll be ready to put your phone in the bag. And I think just giving them that warning, just giving them that space, just giving them the opportunity to make that decision, and knowing that you are not there. Put your phone. Can you put your phone down? Could you put the phone down, please? I think the more you press the issue, the more they're going to rebel against the request. And so what I find works is telling them that it's going to be necessary for the phone to be put in the bag or the box or on the small table if you're at home, or whatever it is that you want, and giving them the warning, preparing them, telling them the importance of a family sitting together and talking. just talking without the technology being involved. I don't know what a lot of schools do, and I don't think my previous school, the children were not allowed the phone at all in school. If you were caught with a phone in school, you were issued detentions, your phone was confiscated, and it was kept in the office until your parents could take a day off work and come and collect it. And so that's how my school dealt with that issue. At home, family dynamics are important. Do you normally communicate? Do you have family time? And if you don't have family time, and I talk about that in the book, actually, family time, how to make family time, taking time aside to talk to your teenagers, to try to find out what's going on with them. But I think mostly in my experience, teenagers do understand, and they come around to doing it. If of course they understand the reason why you have to do it. And so it's there's no right answer to this question, is there? Because it's going to depend on the family dynamic, I call it. How do you communicate with them? Are you able to make a request and have them obey, or are you from a family where they do what they want, and hopefully, and that's why the line of communication, I keep saying the line of communication, the right type of communication, the right type of skills, parents can find a way around to reaching out to their young people and teaching them those essential skills. Yes, it's I have not spoken to a parent who knows. As a teacher, may I say, as teachers, our authority is quite limited, I'd say. Of course, we have school rules, and then we are teachers. I think it's a lot harder for parents, because they are parents, to get their teenagers to do the right thing, because they are parents.
Well, and the thing is, teenagers are in a specific, point of life, and it is, there's a certain amount of rebellion involved in it, in, trying to sort things out for yourself. There's always been that, but this issue, it's not just the kids that are on technology, though. It's also parents are on technology also, which means, and parents, this is not a guilt trip, but we are talking from the point of view as educators, but then also I as a parent and grandparent, and with teens in this age group, trying to negotiate this. And so I know when I'm on my computer and on my phone, I'm not present, but it's the way our life is yet, and we're all trying to negotiate that. And the question is, do we, and we can't really answer that, do we let the kids just have it? And it can't even be just even almost as a reward anymore. It's just become a part of our life so fast. I mean, the iPad was only invented in 2010, just 13 years ago, and look how it has changed education. Now, me at the elementary level, seeing it come clear into kindergarten, one-on-one, and we're teaching coding to kindergarten instead of having kindergartners drawing and coloring and doing all of that it's like, okay, we have to adapt. I mean, our job is still to get kids educated. And now you are in a situation in your position, to get kids to resources that qualify for them. But for the average teen and parent, just trying to negotiate the high school situation, is, parents, that's why we have workshops for moms, because we're giving you a big hug and some pats on the back and talking to people that are also dealing with the same things that you are. So, yes, I just want to make sure we sit through thousands of parent teacher conferences and, we are hearing your struggle, and the answer would seem to be take away electronics, don't have electronics. But what do you say?
It's not practical though. How on earth? I mean, I was just citing earlier the example of this 2-year-old baby in the restaurant who screamed and screamed and screamed until the mother returned the tablet to him. You can't even take those tablets from babies nowadays because they scream so loud. And how do you take a tablet? Well, for me, in my experience, it's mobile phone that is the technology of choice for our teenagers. How would you take a phone from a young person? They'll have to surrender it. They'll have to come to a point where they are secure enough, and they love you enough, and they respect you enough, or they understand the importance of family time enough, or they have been brought up in that way. Depends how old they are. If they have been brought up to understand that every Saturday afternoon between 6 and 7, the family sits together at dinner, and this is our eating time, and no phones allowed. Your phone must stay in the bedroom. We shouldn't see it. We shouldn't hear it, because this is our time. This is the time that the family comes together. We prepare for the week, or we find out what's going on with each other, and communicate our needs and our wants and our wishes, and just bond as a family. We go out to a picnic on a Saturday afternoon together, and the phone can stay in the house for that matter. And so it's creating these family moments, I think, that are going to be really vital. No, I don't think we could take the phones from them, because the more I think, the more you insist, the more they will resist, right? Whatever we resist persists. Okay, so I think it's what I call the backdoor way of doing it. It's in the, okay, we are going to have this wonderful family time. Now, the thing with teenagers, and I talk about that in the book, when they are tiny, it's easy to take them to a little playground, and it's easy to do little fun things with them. It's a lot harder to entertain teenagers these days. It's really, really, I mean, they get bored very quickly. I mean, at school, is to say, oh, miss, oh, it's boring. You know, they enjoy it for 5 minutes, and then we got to move on to something really quickly, because you've lost their focus. They get bored very quickly. And so that's why those family moments are so important. So you can find out how your teenager, how your young person, your child is evolving. What are their likes and dislikes? Because that changes with them very quickly. In fact, for teenagers, they get bored. I think no, we can't take the phone from them, but we can instill family values in them. Create moments, have family times when then they are asked to leave the phone behind, and that's just the way it is, because it's family time.
Mhm. So you have seen in your teaching, now you teach English and French,
Yes.
so you're teaching language, which you can use technology to, help that. But what have you seen as far as a change in kids? You kind of alluded it to there in a minute, that they get bored and you're needing to move on. So it sounds like this has altered your teaching also.
Indeed, we have whiteboards. I find that in the planning of the lesson, they don't like writing, because most of my students don't know how to write very well. They hate it because they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it because they hate it. And so it's a vicious cycle. So I find that I have to strike a really fine balance between how much writing I expect them to do, so that develop their writing skills, because after all, they have to sit writing exams. But mostly when necessary, when possible, I will use the technology. We use the whiteboard, because then they love coming to the whiteboard and interact with it and with the class and answer using the technology. So yes, it's really vital. And I think if we didn't use the technology in the classroom, we would have issues keeping them focused, because I think we have to put ourselves in the place where they are. We have to be attuned to the evolving needs, and we have to cater to the needs, and we have to adapt. Well, I have had to, and I do adapt my teaching and my planning every day to the needs of my students, and that includes using technology.
All right, so I guess we've established we can't get away from it. So in our last
No.
remaining minutes here,
No.
before we let you get on to your evening, and I know teaching the next morning, So what would you like to leave us with that you think is important for parents to know raising their teens? And, we've just discussed technology, no technology, but what else would you like parents to know to help them get through this time or enjoy this time? It shouldn't just be but enjoy this time of working with their teens.
Mhm. Well, here, as we've established, technology is here and it's here to stay. The only thing that I have found that makes a difference, the only thing that when I'm in meeting with parents, and I create this atmosphere, I create a space for them to be able to communicate, listen, listen, listen. I don't know if you've had parents tell you or young people tell you, um, but they tell me, Miss, but they don't listen. I tried to tell my mom, but she doesn't listen. And parents think they are listening, uh, but the child doesn't feel heard. And so when they come to us with an issue, a parent's first instinct is to want to solve the problem. A parent's first instinct is to want to give the answer. A parent's first instinct is, yeah, but you should do this, you should do that. I think what I found works best is to hear, to listen, and to say, I hear how you feel about that. Is there anything that I can do to help you solve this? What do you think I can do to help you? I have found this works so much better for me when I deal with young people than if I tried to give them the answer. So I would say opening the channel of communication. You don't always have to provide an answer. They don't always need an answer. Sometimes they just want you to hear. That is the way that they feel. Yes, I think the most.
Pull it back. Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry, we had a little blip
yes.
there.
So what I would, yes. So what I would say to parents, um, there is good news here. Yes, technology is making it more and more difficult to communicate, but there is good news. The good news is this: by you as a parent getting the right type of support, as a parent getting the right level of support, should you need it. I was talking recently about parents who perhaps are dealing with trauma that they have endured when they were teens, and that perhaps they feel they are passing on to their teens or renders them unable to understand and communicate with their teens. So ensure support for yourself. Um, Support groups are really, really useful. Maintain a healthy line of communication. I think these are the main issues I would say, because parenting is hard and it's not something that you can do alone. I find that a lot of parents, especially those that are single parent families, they really do benefit from parenting groups. They benefit from uh, joining forces with other parents and having their children being friends and communicating to each other. I don't think that we will ever be able to completely protect our children from the dangers that are out there, technology, the online world. We won't be able to do it. But what we can do, I think, is prepare them enough and make them aware that we are here, open the line of communications, making sure that they know that the line of communication is always open, so that whatever challenges life throws their way, they are equipped to deal with it, or they can come to you and know that they are supported, and most importantly, that they are heard, and that they're not alone. They're not alone, because a lot of my young people tell me that they feel alone because they don't feel heard at home. Of course, we do our best at school for them, but then it's just school. When they go home, home is where the heart is and where love is and where the support should be when it comes to your parents. And so if you are a parent who is struggling, you are struggling with raising your teen because you don't know how to communicate. And for me, my parents say that to me all the time: I don't know how to talk to her. She doesn't listen. How do I help her or him? They don't listen. They don't want to hear what I have to say. And so it's working on the line of communication. Create opportunities, family picnics, visit grandma, take them away from the everyday situation so that they don't lock themselves in their rooms all the time. Take them out, go to a park, go to a restaurant, whatever you can do to ensure that the line of communication is open, because I think in all types, at all levels of relationships, I think communication, if you don't have a clear line of communications, if you don't understand each other, if you don't hear and listen to each other, then it's going to be really, really hard to impart anything, because you're not hearing each other. So how do you teach them? Because they're not listening or not hearing. How do they talk to you? Because they don't feel that you are hearing or listening. And so for me, the most important thing, and I find that once people are able to sit in a room and give each other space, family meetings are beautiful for that. So Sophie is going to talk for the next 5 minutes and nobody interrupts, and we listen to Sophie, nobody jumps down her throat. No, it's not about judging, it's about listening. You are free to express how you feel, and everybody validates that and accepts that, and everybody has a space around the table and a time when they can say what they wish to say about how they feel about situation without feeling that they're going to be judged or condemned or that they're going to cause offense. And I think there it is. It's all boiled down to communication, however form communication takes in your home. I think you will find that if you were to work on opening, if it's not opened, open the line of communication, and you will find that they listen, because children, I always say, they are not silly. They know love. They know that you love them. They know that everything that you do for them, you do it for their best good. But as you were saying earlier, when you have a teen, it's all about rebellion, and it's about, I'm going to do it my way. And yeah, so it's still finding that mutual respect. Because my students say that to me all the time, Miss, it's easy with you because you hear us and you respect us and you love us. Right. And so if young people feel that you respect them, you meet them where they are, you understand where they are, you understand how hard life is for them. And I think eventually it's possible to teach them, to impart the skills that we so desperately need them to learn, because otherwise they won't be able to function in society and be successful in spite of technology.
In spite of technology.
In spite of
On
technology.
that note, so if you noticed, because we'll have it in the notes, that Evelyn's book is Alpha Teen and Millennial Parent, Life Skill Essentials to Futureproof Your Screenager. So we really appreciated hearing your perspective on raising screenagers. And parents, we love you, and we know this can be a challenging time, and we are applauding your effort of getting these kids raised in a situation where we all don't have the answers, because we've had this, the interjection here into the schools, into parenting, into our lives, and we're kind of all in this together. And especially as educators, we are partnering with you. So I'm going to say thank you so much, Evelyn, for being with us. Hope that, you've got the coronation coming up in a month, that London will be pretty crazy. We're glad to get you now.
The center of the world. It really is going to be the focus for the entire world. Yes.
It really will be. Yeah. It's
75
funny how we all follow it. But anyway, have a wonderful teaching week and interacting with your parents. And thank you for interacting with our parents here in the United States on Workshops.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, that was just so wonderful. So I'm so glad that we were able to have that interview come about, and you all got to hear that amazing message from Evelyn. So you can give her some love in the chat and reach out to her. And let's go ahead, Tracy. Do you have the next recording from our wonderful speaker, Mel?
I'm gonna, uh-oh. Okay.
You got it.
Okay. I am getting
share
there. Just a
screen.
minute. Okay, technology. We were just talking about that, right?
Yeah, that's something that I love.
Oh, you love it. Okay. So this is new that we would have a recording because we come to you live. All right. So let me see. I'm gonna do Mel. I need to screen share. I know that.
For the desktop, and then you can pull up the email that I sent you with the link to her video.
Okay, just a minute. So I'm still not seeing my controls here.
Did you click the screen share button? And then you need to
No,
say
I can't
optimize
find.
for
Yeah,
video.
I don't find it. I don't find screen share.
Then push
There it
escape.
Yeah, it's down at the bottom here. Okay, I'm coming.
And you make sure you click that optimize for video.
Got it.
Yay.
Okay,
She's a
so
rock star.
so
Good
for
to
our friend Mel, we are sorry that she's not feeling well today. We're so glad that we have Zoom and can make recordings. And so that's what we're able to use today. Because Mel has a big message for moms in that, in raising kids,
Mel is a mom.
in raising kids, we don't want to lose track of ourselves. And that is Mel's message today. So we have Irene, who is on the show with Mel, is going to do the introduction.
Connection
And make sure to
coach
full
and
screen.
community builder who believes that it is moms with big, audacious dreams who are going to change the world for the better. They just need the space to dream and the belief of a community to help them do it. Amen to that, sister. Having a big, audacious dream, but convincing yourself to keep it small is something that women and mothers are conditioned to do. But Mel says it's time for us to play big, dream big, and take up the space, all the space we need. Together, you and Mel will begin to reconnect with your big, audacious self. And the title of her talk, it's What's Your Big, Audacious Dream? Mel?
Thanks, Irene. And I just want to say, Irene, it was so lovely to hear your talk, and those beginning years and months are so important. And I remember those times, and I remember them being glorious and beautiful and challenging and took a lot out of me. So with that, I lost myself a little bit, and that's what's brought me to this point. I have a almost 5 and almost 8-year-old now, so I'm just that little ways further than some of you here, maybe behind some others. But as Irene introduced, I'm really excited to speak to moms about what your dreams are. Right? Yes, we're moms. I love being a mom. I feel like I was born to be a mom some days. Sometimes I feel like I'm the worst at it, but I love being a mom. And I also always had this whisper in the back of my mind saying, I also want to be something else too, right? And I felt this like big guilt for that. And the fact is that that's okay. And I've gotten to that place now. And I love working with moms to see that possibility and to reconnect with themselves and their dreams and look towards going forward with that. So I'm going to share my screen and show you what we're up to today. Let's get it up. Awesome. So, how to connect with your big, audacious dreams and why it and you matter. And I was reconnecting with this presentation earlier this morning, and I was like, look at that picture. It just says so much, right? And I'm just going to check because I have it open on my other screen that I'm just looking in on here, and I'm frozen. Am I frozen on anybody else's screen, or am I good? You can hear me?
Don't see you.
You don't see me.
I can hear you.
That's okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me. Perfect. Okay. So that's what we're doing today and why it matters and why you matter, right? And that graphic is just stunning. I did not design it. It's a total Canva thing for anybody that's looking at business stuff. I love Canva. So firstly, just to say congratulations for showing up for you. Being a mom, it's very difficult to show up for ourselves sometimes, and you've done it. You're here, and whether you're cooking your dinner at the same time or attending to a child or sitting in a room and taking the space for you, either way, you're showing up for you. So that's amazing. A quick bit about me. First, I used to write just like I'm mom, and that's what I felt like for a while. And then these other things started, I was reminded of all these other things about myself. So I am a coach and a facilitator. I'm a forest school leader at my son's nature preschool a couple of days a week because I live on Vancouver Island and it's beautiful, and outdoors is so important in our kids and humans' lives. I'm a wife, I'm a speaker, I'm a sister, dreamer, doer, and so many other things. And I love all the other things that you can see on there: nature, community, play, purpose. Positive psychology, if you don't know what it is, it's basically the science of flourishing as human beings. It's incredibly fascinating. So everything that I say is really coming from that background and what makes us flourish as human beings. I also play soccer, and anything on the water is my happy place. So back to you. You are a change maker. You might not call yourself that yet, but you are. And you simply need the space and the supportive community to dream big and to believe that you're a change maker. If you can hear my dog in the background, sorry. I'm a beautiful puppy. She's very loud right now. So, okay, here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna be doing 3 actionable steps that will connect you with your big audacious dreams. So I am super keen on you being able to walk away from today with exactly something you can do today, like the next minute if you want to. In fact, we're going to do a couple things while we're actually together. So step number 1, you've got 3 steps. I warn you, the first step has a few steps within it. But the first thing is to really give yourself permission to take space for you. You'll notice the name of my business is called Permission to Be Human. So permission is a huge part of it. And we need to give it to ourselves. So permission to take the space for you. I know you will have heard this before, right? As a mom, it's very difficult to take that space, and self-care is so important. And we all know we need to fill our own bucket before we fill others. And yet it's not that easy to do. And today we're going to talk through not only doing it, but the next step, what to do in that time, right? So the first step is make a habit of 15 minutes a day for you. So I want everybody to just stop for a second and think about an existing habit you have during the day that you do every day. And where can you fit in 15 minutes where you're going to do this or something similar for you to connect with yourself? So for example, it might be after I brush my teeth in the morning. For me, that's probably not going to work because I then rush my children off to get dressed into school. But then after the school drop off, I usually have 15 minutes. Maybe I'll go outside and do it. Maybe I'll come home, lay in the hammock, whatever it might be, right? 15 minutes, ideally attached to an existing habit, because habits are very hard to create. I'm sure you've figured that out with the fair few January resolutions, as I have as well. So pick a habit right now. Has anybody come up with one? Maybe write it in the chat. Like, what other places could you fit 15 minutes in your day, in your life? Your kids might even be in the same room, depending on what your life is right now. I'm just going to pull up the chat so I can see. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, Ren, fit it in before sleeping. A lot of people that's works really well for you because you're already kind of taking that space for yourself to get in bed and go to sleep. That's a great one. Yeah, and habit stacking, exactly, Celeste. So find that 15 minutes for you to do every single day. If you miss a day, don't worry. That's also that's the science of change. We make mistakes and we fall off the wagon. We just get back on and have compassion for ourselves. So now that you've made the time, what the heck do you do in that time? So that's what we're going to talk through right now within our first step, exactly what you can do in that 15 minutes that you're going to give yourself every single day. Maybe commit to like 15 days of it. If you continue to follow me, in a couple of months, I'll actually be doing a 15-day challenge of doing this 15 minutes a day. So keep in touch for that one. But for now, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do within it. So the first thing, which we're all going to do right now, because as you can hear, I'm speaking really quickly. That's because my heart rate is up and I'm nervous because I'm talking to a screen and I can't even quite see your faces and all those things, right? So we're going to get grounded in the moment. You will have come from who knows what you're doing in the day, but you're probably rushing because that's often what we do as moms. So breathe, right? My favorite type of breath is 4 seconds in, 2 at the top held, and 6 seconds out, 2 at the bottom held. So we're going to take that time to do that right now. And we'll do 3 breaths like that. 4 in and 6 out. And breathing out. Awesome. I hope you were able to do that with me. And can you hear the difference even in my voice after doing that? It makes such a difference. And I took, like, I was crossing my legs, I took my foot and I put it on the ground and really felt the ground. And while you're doing that, think about what is your body telling you, right? My body was saying, slow the F down, right? That's what it was telling me, and often is when I feel the need to breathe, actually. So what is your body telling you? But it might, even without interpreting in terms of slow down, it might be like, oh, my stomach feels a little tight, or I feel these kind of butterfly feelings, or my heart is racing, or my feet kind of hurt. Like, what's that all about, right? Just listen to your body and notice what your body is feeling like. So now that you've breathed and you feel present in the moment, the next thing to do is do something that makes you feel good. Because once we start to feel good, we'll be better able to start to connect with ourselves later on. If I don't know if you've ever sat down and tried to, like, think of something really creative right after, like, doing something really fast, like making the kids get to school or whatever it is, my mind won't go there, right? So these are the things we can do to get connected. So 3 scientifically proven ways to do that are topics of gratitude, awe, and movement. So gratitude, an interesting topic, right? One that actually I've always had a struggling relationship with. I don't know if you've ever been in that place where you've been either thought or being told by culture or a person, like, you should be grateful, right? So that word always kind of sat with me wrong. And I've been readjusting my relationship to that word. And this is one of the activities that I do to do that, which is to think of 3 good things that happened recently, and more than that, how you contributed to them. So in my case, how I contributed to them. So I want us to take a second now and do that exact thing, but just with one. So I'm going to give you like 15 seconds to think of your own, and then we'll see if anybody wants to share. So one good thing that happened recently and how you contributed to it. Would anybody like to share? I can't see hands up if people do that.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if our host can.
Celeste.
Yeah, I didn't realize you couldn't see me. So last weekend, my husband and I both graduated from University of North Dakota in Grand Forks.
Oh.
And we took all 4 of our kids to a hockey game. And only one of them had ever been to the Engelstead before. So, and we went with another PT classmate of mine and his family. So, yeah, very, very grateful that we were able to put that together.
That's amazing. Well done. And well done for acknowledging the part that you had in that, right? And so often we don't. And it feels good to acknowledge that, right? This is an activity you can do with your kids. I do it at dinner time whenever I can remember. And they both love and hate it, but it always feels really good at the end. And I find out so much more about their lives than like, how's school? I don't know, right? Like, just, it's fine. So it's a great way to practice gratitude. And the science shows that the more we practice gratitude, like we actually have to purposely sit down and do it, the more positive emotions that we'll have. So that's one way. And you might have your own gratitude practice. Go into that as well if you want to. You can choose anything. You're doing this every day, right? You might get bored of 3 good things. You might choose another one. So another way you can help yourself feel good is to experience awe. So you can look at literally anything that you find and find out what's fascinating about it, right? So I could look at like the fingerprints on my finger and be like, isn't it amazing how every single human being has a different fingerprint? Like, I just find that so incredible. And there's so many little lines, and if you've ever looked under a magnifying glass, it's fascinating, or microscope, I should say, really. It's just fascinating. So it's as simple as that, right? Or maybe you're out for a walk, or you're outside doing this, and you can look at the trees that are there, or even the like cement under your feet, right? There's so many things that you can be fascinated by and bring in that sense of awe. And the last is movement. So go for a walk while you're doing this. You can do the whole thing while you're walking if you'd like. Have a little dance, right? Just turn a song on for 2 minutes. That will get you moving. I have a bike right beside me in my office that's right next to my desk. And whenever I need to like get my mind moving, I get my body moving. Not necessarily really hard. I just move my legs while I'm thinking. And do it for all of this time, or just for a few seconds. Either way, you want to get yourself moving. Okay, so we've got ourselves grounded, we've got ourselves feeling good. Then we want to exercise. We want to turn on our creative brain, right? So big hint, you can involve your kids in this part if you want to, especially if they're nearby. Yes, movement, dancing's your favorite. Me too, Irene. I love a good dance. And humans, of course, humans are babies. We could just look at pictures of babies and feel good. That's a good way to do it. Right, depending on our story, I suppose, but I feel good usually when I see babies. Okay, so exercise your creative brain. Let's turn it on. So I'm going to just give you 3 super quick game type things you can play with yourself or somebody else. So one is, how many objects could this object be? So I'm going to hold up. You can't see me, can you? Can someone make them see me?
We can try.
Can you spotlight me?
Yeah, I'm not, while you're spotlighted, I'm just wondering, maybe if you just stop your screen share, turn your camera on and off, maybe that'll restart your camera, because your camera's just, there we go. Yes,
Can you see me now? Yay. Okay, let's go over to Canva and see if you still can. You can see me twice now. That's just a win, right? Oops. Okay. You may end up just seeing me twice. There we go. Oh no, you're gonna have to see me twice. Okay.
We don't mind.
You don't mind.
We don't.
Yeah.
You have your right side and your left side.
There you go. Excellent. Okay, so I'm holding this up. What could this be? You can literally unmute and shout it out, or you can write it in the text if you want. What can this be? Anything. Think wild and wonderful.
A template for drawing balloons.
Oh, I love it. Yes, a hat. Right? What else?
A bracelet.
Yeah, what a beautiful bracelet. It could be something you roll down a hill to knock down some bowling pins or rocks or something. It can be so many things, right? And an anklet, a plant holder, yes, a doorstop, a pet toy. I love it. It can be so many things. And you can do that with the most like inane object. Just get your brain going. Kids love this game, by the way, and they're often way better than us because they're used to thinking outside the box like that. And it's such good practice for us. So that'll get your creative brain going. Another one is doodle something ridiculous. So you can literally fill in these little brackets here. So an object. So dog wearing a hot dog walking into a snowy backyard, right? So doodle, and I say doodle, don't draw. I mean, like, don't judge what you're doing. Stickmen are fine. Just put something on paper. The fact is that our brain will think that's really funny, and it will just open up way different ways of thinking. Okay, and I'm sure you're trying to do that in your mind right now, so feel free to write in some ridiculous thing that you're thinking of right now in the chat box. And the third way, and these are just examples, of course, is collaborative storytelling with someone else. So again, this is great with kids or a partner or whoever, but I could be like, once upon a time there was a dog, and then the next person, can you tell I'm thinking about dogs today? And then the next person might say, and they went to the moon. And then the next person might say, and they drank coffee on the moon. And you keep going on and on and on until you feel like the story is finished. And it just lets your brain get into that creative space. Okay, so we've got grounded, I'm gonna go back. We've got grounded, we've done something that makes us feel good, and we've started to exercise our creative brain. So we hopefully will start to feel good, right? We're starting to feel some like positive emotions. However, sometimes we're just not in that space yet. And that's where this next one comes in. So if you're still not feeling creative, or you're still not feeling great, it's just one of those times when you're not, I'm going to stop you here and tell you not to do the next step, but do this one instead. So if you're still in that space on that day, then the next thing to do is to ask yourself questions, because our brains love questions. We're curious creatures, right? So think of a question. This could be it. What if I could dream big today? Right? It's kind of like an affirmation, but if we say an affirmation that our brain doesn't believe yet, it just changes it to the negative, like, well, I can't do that anyways, right? But if we're like, oh, what if I could dream big today? What if I could dream big today? What if I could dream big today? I actually do this with my daughter every morning with different what ifs, and she's starting to really love it. It's taken from a practice called havening. I'm actually doing this below. I'm going to give you a bonus tip here. I pretend to wash my hands. This is something called havening, if you haven't heard of it, but it's kind of like tapping. It's a way to use touch to get into our brain, calm our bodies, calm our nervous systems. And when we do things like, what if I could dream big today? It allows that to kind of enter our bodies and brains a little bit more. I do it when I'm nervous down here too. You can't see it on screen, it's great. Okay, so that's if you're not feeling quite up to it yet. Now, if you are, it's time to reflect and listen to the whisper. So you start to say, if I was dreaming big today, what would that look like? Listen to it. So you close your eyes, or maybe you doodle the answer, or maybe you journal the answer, or maybe if you're a verbal processor like I am, you leave yourself a voice memo, which I never listen to them, but I love to just talk out loud and know that it's being recorded. I actually have a friend that we just go back and forth sometimes and don't even necessarily listen to each other's. But the important part is that you reflect and listen to what is being said in there. And it might just be a little thing on the first day, and the next day it might grow to something else. But if I was dreaming big today, what would that look like? Okay, so that is step one. Do the habit, create the habit, do 15 minutes a day, follow this process, fill in the gaps with activities that work for you if you'd like to. But the point being, you're breathing and being present, you're doing something that makes you feel good, you're exercising your creative brain, and then you're getting into that space where you reflect and listen to that whisper. Okay, amazing. And if you can do that as many times as you can, just daily, you will reap the benefits. Okay, step number two is the permission to dream big and take up space. So tell someone, but be careful about who that person is, right? Tell someone who you know is going to cheer you on no matter what comes out of your mouth, right? We all have the people in our life who are loving and caring and will get into like critiquing mode right away, like, oh but, and they have our best interests at heart, but at this stage in the dreaming phase, that's not helpful for us. Later on, it is actually, but right now in the dreaming phase, it's not helpful at all. So think of someone in your life who you know will cheer you on. And when you find that person, explore together. If I had unlimited time, money and energy. What could I do with this idea? So you've got this little idea that you've just reflected on. Eventually, it might take you a while to get to stage 2, right? Maybe you have to do it for like 2 weeks first. And then you're like, oh, I have this crazy idea, but it's only a tiny one right now. And you just start talking it out with someone, going back and forth and playing with the possibility. Okay. I gave you a little tidbit into the future. Does anybody have any questions up to this point? We've gone through stage 1 of getting those 15 minutes and then stage 2. Any questions at this point? I also can't see your hands if you say yes. So if someone else sees it, please do, or just shout it out. There's not that many of us. Okay. Okay, so we've taken the 15 minutes, we've started to tell someone and explore it further, okay? And if any of you are coaches, you'll understand why we ask these questions. We wanna get our brains into the future, into seeing it happening, what the benefits are of that, which will help us then move towards action. Okay, so we've told someone. Now, the third thing is every single day before you go to sleep, I want you to visualize it happening. So whatever the dream is and whatever stage it is, and make it big and beautiful and wonderful, and maybe it's not going to be exactly that way, that doesn't matter. But our brains do not understand the difference between what we imagine and what is real. So if you visualize yourself achieving that dream that you've just started to dream up, you already did it in your brain, right? So when you start to do it in real life, your brain will be like, oh yeah, we've done this, right? And it becomes so much easier. So you start to believe that it's actually possible. And then finally, allow yourself to take small, laughable actions towards your big, audacious dream. I love the word laughable actions. I mean, like, if your big dream is to go hike Mount Everest, buy some shoes. Or even better, use the shoes you already have and put them by the door. Next step, put them on the next day. Next step, open the door, right? Tiny little laughable actions that are so easy that we could almost laugh at what they are. But when we do them and we start to build in those habits, if I just go and put my shoes on and open the door every single day, eventually I'm going to be like, I really feel like going outside, right? And that will continue to move us forward. Okay. And rinse and repeat, and rinse and repeat, and rinse and repeat. Do this over and over and over again. I promise you will start to feel more connected with your dream, and you'll actually start taking action. And there it is in another format. So 15 minutes for you, build the habit, tell someone who will cheer you on, visualize it happening, and taking those tiny actions towards it. And yes, Irene, laughable actions. Okay, so finally, permission to take up space. The world, your family, and the community needs the person that you're going to be when you dream big and let it happen. You are a change maker. I love this quote from Winston Churchill. Once you start to, I warn you, you will start to think about it every day. And once you start to build that habit of allowing yourself, then you won't be able to stop, right? And you never give up on something that you can't go a day without thinking about. Right, so because the second phase of telling someone that you know will cheer you on is not always easy to find the right person, I figure I will happily be that person for you. It's actually my favorite thing to do in the world, is to talk to people about what their dreams are. So I'm offering a free You Got This call, and I will literally just listen to you, maybe ask a couple questions just to prompt your thinking and get you saying more. But I'm not gonna sell to you. I'm literally just gonna like cheer you on and tell you how freaking amazing I think you are that you are thinking of this dream, and I can't wait to see it happen. So there is a link there. My friends won't have it. They can maybe type it in for me. But please do take me up on that offer. And if the times on that Calendly link don't work, just send me an email. You'll see it on my next one. Or find me on Facebook. I love hearing people's dreams, and I will happily give you some of my time to listen to your dreams and to give you that space to dream. right? There's the rest of my details. If you'd like to find me, I am at permissiontobehuman.ca, and you can search that in all of the usual spots to find me. You are amazing. You've got this, and keep dreaming.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or anything that you want to comment?
You're
I
a
love
mom
the title.
cheerleader.
I love the title of your Permission to be Human. That is so powerful.
Thank you. And it's so important because so I'm really focusing on possibility today, but within that is a lot of other emotion, right? We have positive emotions, quote unquote, and negative emotions, quote unquote, and they're all important and they're all just as valid. And a lot of the work I do works through all of those as well. So yes, how do we all want as many positive emotions as possible? We can't avoid the other ones just to get there. So that's kind of where that came from.
Excellent.
Yeah. And yeah, I could be a mom cheerleader. You know what? I have dreamt of doing that exact thing for so many years. I'm like, I just want to like listen to people and cheer them on and get them seeing their possibility. So I'm so excited to be doing that now. And yeah, thank you all for holding that space.
I popped your link in the chat in case anybody wants to take you up on that gift. Thank you
Celeste,
for
love the
sharing.
strong as a mother. Yeah, thank you, Irene. There's a strong as a mother thing back there. It's actually someone's brand that she's changing. I'm like, what are you doing? That's the best brand ever. But
Good.
yes, strong as a mother is so, yeah, we all are. Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and
I know, we just have to take a breath. mean, Really, from our, well, you know, it's interesting because going from Irene's talk of, you know, the baby in the beginning and looking where we are as moms. I mean, you do all of that and you have all of that experience, but you know, things shift. You know, your perspective, all of that shifts. And you go through a major shift, but she was talking about expanding. And what I liked about you, your comment, Mel, was taking up space, taking up the space you need for your dream, and different concept of expanding, because you expanded with the baby and all of that. But really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing out the synchronicity in that. It's true.
Really interesting. But it's two different kinds of space. Just think how really expansive we get as moms. All the things we learn.
I'm just typing in for you the Calendly link, which is Calendly permission to be human /free you got this call. There you go.
You got this call. Okay, let's put that one down. Let's see. Fun. Okay.
Awesome.
Writing it. Yeah, I'm writing it down. Calendly.com. So sometimes it's permission to be human always, but
my email has always in it because permission to be human is definitely taken. But yes, the rest is permission to be human.
you got this call. All right. Awesome. Well, ladies, always, whew, this is why we bring moms a pick-me-up midweek, and then you can get ready for Friday and get ready for the weekend because it never stops. And we just feel, you know, as a mom community, and we've all been there, and, you know, looking for ways that we can support you as the village, and taking this hour for you and meeting all these really amazing mom experts who are, you know, balancing all of this, plus taking the space they need to pursue their dreams, and sharing with you, you know, exciting things that, you know, we do as moms, but also as we are as humans, as Mel's pointing out, being the humans that we are and the things that we love to do, and share it with moms. So, you know, gives you something to think about and good tips. Mom care is certainly something that we've been promoting in mom workshops. Yeah, we do have lots of things about our kids and our families, but mom care just keeps coming up as a topic that's really important to be able to carry all the load that we do as moms and grandmas. So thank you so much for being our speakers today and giving out wonderful information. That everybody take a deep breath and think about what you've heard and go forward this week until we see you next week at 9:00 a.m. with 2 other mom experts who are also balancing all of these things, and we'll have great ideas for you too. So to our guest speakers today, Mel and Irene, thank you so much. I know one's in the cold Northwest and one's down in Florida sizzling on this crazy weather day that we're having across the US. And for our guests, wherever you are, well, congratulations, Celeste, for your graduation, in another cold area, but congratulations to you on a big accomplishment in your family. And I wanted to pick up with Kara, but I just wanted to chat with her, but I think she's popped off. So with that, we're going to say goodbye. And then if Mel and Irene, if you will stick around for a little bit and give a recap that we can then put out, so people know that the replay exists. If you'll just hold on a little bit. Now, let me see, I'm going to put the recording on pause, I think.
All right. Well, actually, you'll want to stop the recording because this will be the final, and then we'll do a new recording because that makes the recap, and then that makes the VA a lot happier because she doesn't good. Hi, Celeste. Great to see you.
Nice to meet you, Celeste. Have a good week.
Yeah, thanks you guys.
Bye. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording to the. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Workshops for Moms. And, you know, having mom experts, as we were just talking about, who are juggling the same thing as you are in different ways is really helpful to hear. And they bring you tips from their point of view and where they've spent, you know, where they're spending their time and how it works out for them. And it is a pick-me-up midweek so that, you know, moms, just take this hour for yourself. And this is part of your mom care, but also we love bringing you tips that are very actionable. So we heard from a high school teacher today, Evelyn Gilles. I want to say that right. It's French, Gilles. I'm not sure I got that right. And Mel Findlater, who is a great cheerleader, I have to tell you. And she will be there for you if you just want to share what you're thinking about. So those links will be here at the bottom of the replay. And I'm Tracy Cheney, inviting you to Workshops for Moms. Next week, we will be at 10 o'clock. So we go between our morning and afternoons trying to catch our speakers at different times around the world and you moms who are located also in all time zones. And with that, I wish you a very happy weekend coming up.